Good morning, campers. What's going on? Cheers. Shit, is that an ant or a coffee grain? Hold on. What is that? Is that an ant? Get out of there. Focus. Got it. That's not stopping me from drinking Campfacer's Chucky's coffee. It's currently 49 degrees here in Rhode Island with heavy overcast clouds, rain clouds coming. We're supposed to get a storm shortly and it's getting a little chilly. Believe it or not, about a half an hour ago, it was literally 60 degrees, no wind, and bright blue skies. Hey guys, Campfacer here. Today's coffee chat is going to be the subject Nintendo. The NES, not the class. This is the, this is the classic. The new version that comes with only 30 games installed. But we're going to be talking about the original Nintendo back in the day, 80s, early 90s. Join me as we take Camp's adventure through the first days of Nintendo, shall you guys? Cheers. All right, we're going to make this coffee chat a little quick because I believe we have some rain coming really quick. Could start raining on this coffee chat and ruin it all. But anyways, let's get into this. The Nintendo days. Look at this. The original, it's a little dusty. The days where gaming was more simple. 2 buttons, select, start, A and B on the control pad. There were no R1, R2, L1, L2, and 4 buttons here, and a pad here, and 2 joysticks there, and a center. There was none of that crazy stuff. Of course, gaming has progressed and gotten more interesting and fun. Online gaming, multiplayer. It's crazy, it's good, but sometimes people like myself just want to dive into something simple, side-scrolling. Nintendo, I'll tell you guys this. Ooh, it's getting chilly. I remember the first time I got a Nintendo. My uncle, it was my birthday, and I want to say I was about 12, 13, something like that. I could be off. My memory is a little foggy. He came over later that night, and I think we already had my party, but he stopped over with his gifts later. And I kind of had an idea it was a Nintendo he was getting me. I don't know how I knew that, but I did. I opened it up, and he got me a Nintendo, and he got me 2 games. It came with Mario Duck Hunt and the gun, but then he bought 2 games along with it. And back then, it was a big deal because we didn't have a lot of money. And my Uncle Jeff did a special thing for me. And when I opened it up, I was blown away because I didn't have a system. There was no gaming system besides Atari, but it was kind of like old and I didn't have one anymore. And I saw the Nintendo commercials, and we're talking back when Nintendo only had friggin' like 30 games available. So I opened it up, I was blown away, and then I opened up one of the games. Wait a minute. Sorry, he only got me 1 game with the system. I opened up one of the games, and it was Commando. It was like basically a not side-scrolling, but what do you call that, where your stick figure goes forward the whole game, kind of like on a three-dimensional map. It was one of those shooter games like Army, people shooting at you. You had to go through stage 1, stage 2, stage 3. They were very similar. I had that, Mario, and Duck Hunt to play, and I was like in my glory, you guys. Ever since that day, well, he was trying to explain to my mom, oh, they have educational games and this and that, because he didn't want to be like, oh, here he can go play and ignore like school and life. He was wrong. There were maybe 1-2 educational games, but we're not gonna buy that shit. We're not gonna play that shit. And it didn't happen. He ruined my life. He ruined my mom's idea of my life. He created an amazing life for me to join my gaming friends out there. Thank you, Uncle Jeff. Thank you. You did a great job. Here I am, 44, playing video games still? Yes. That's perfect. I'm going to tell you guys a story about when there was a Nintendo competition in my local town here in Rhode Island. It was in a magazine or something, or no, it was at my local video store. That's right. It was at the video store. That's where I first saw it, not a magazine. And it was a flyer, a professional looking poster. It's like Nintendo competition, players play different games and games prizes, first place winner, second place, third place, and it was on this certain day. So I had like a month to get ready for this Nintendo competition. And back then, the movie with Fred Savage came out called The Wizard, and he went with his little brother across California, and he was trying to I forget, like, look for something. I can't remember the movie too much. Like, the little kid wanted to go to California for whatever reason to see his, like, a memory of his sister. But Fred Savage along the way goes to this Nintendo competition, and he plays Super Mario Brothers Part 2, or Part 3 rather. And it's this big, huge Nintendo competition. I got excited because of that. So anyways, back to the story. I had a month to prepare for this competition because I was so into Nintendo that I took this shit serious. I sat in my room. I went through my entire library of games. I would play games. Even if I didn't like that particular game, I was training. I was going through training. Instead of like training to get into a boxing fight and exercising and doing with a trainer, I was Nintendo training. Training, you guys, training. I would practice. I told my friends I was getting excited. I was getting psyched. I was excited. I was gonna win this shit, you know. The day came. My mom. I got in the car. I was all ready. I got dressed up. I was ready. I got my thumbs ready. I was exercising. I had my brain ready. Pull up. And there's like one car in the parking lot, and it was probably 3 minutes until the competition started, 5 minutes or something. I'm like, wow, there's not too many people here. Sure we got the right day? Yep. I go in and I was like, the guy was like, could I help you? And I was like, yeah, I'm here for the Nintendo competition. He's like, outside, take a right around the corner of the building. There's the frozen yogurt window. It's over there. He was kind of like dry with me. I was like, okay, cool. I go outside, walk around. My mom's in the car. She didn't even get out. She's like, what are you doing? I'm like, I guess it's around here. So I go around the side of the building, and there's one kid standing like this with his elbow on the counter. And I was like, it was awkward as shit. I was like, I'm here for the Nintendo competition, and the girl or the guy at the window, like inside, was like, oh yeah, okay, I guess we're ready to start. And it was just this one fat kid next to me, and that was it. And I was like, she put the controller on the little shelf that comes out, and there was a little fucking tube TV inside, like probably like 10 feet, hard to see away from us. And I was like, well, what do we do and what game do we play? And she's like, we're going to play pinball. And if you guys don't remember the Nintendo pinball game, the original one, pinball, it was like Mario was like holding like the paddle or something. And what it was, she goes, you're both going to play one round and the highest score is the winner. Once you play and the ball goes, you're out of the pinballs, that's it. And then your score. And I remember he won, I lost by like 50 points. And that was it. There was no other games, nothing. And we both, I think he got like a 3 free movie rental and a t-shirt, and that's what his grand prize was. And my prize was a snack bar t-shirt, the frozen yogurt, to promote their snack bar. She's like, here you go. And I was like, oh, thank you. And I walk over to my car, my mom's car, and I'm holding up the shirt, and she's like, how'd it go? Did you win? And I'm like, I got a snack bar shirt. That was no fucking competition. That was fucking bullshit. Bullshit. So I was like, what the fuck? I did all that shit for fucking that? That was a Nintendo competition? I was pissed. I was ready to cry. I didn't know what to think, you guys. I was so mad. Till this day, it's buried deep down where I have a lot of anger that comes. When I get mad, that's part of why I'm getting mad, is because of that day. I wanted to kill somebody. I'm like, false promotion. Talk about getting a kid excited for what? What a way to run a competition. I want to like start my own gaming competition and show what a real competition is. Who doesn't remember putting in a cartridge and it blinking on the screen? It wouldn't work. You hit reset, it doesn't work. You take it out, you have to blow, the blow trick. You put it in, doesn't work. You shake it around. You put it in, up and down as you're shaking it around. Still doesn't, it might work a little bit. You take it out, and then you wet your lips. And then you blow in it, but when you blow in it, you don't spit like a lot, but you're like, and it kind of gets like, then you wiggle it around, and it works. That was a trick. Some of those games pissed me right the fuck off, and that's what you had to do to make it work, you know? As years went on, the games went on, I caught up for a while. I was catching up. Like, I had every game available, and then I got to the point where it just got too quick for me, and my mom's pocket, we couldn't keep up, so I ended up, like, trading games in, or not trading them, like, I don't know, selling them to my friends, and trading at school with my friends, and borrowing games, and it was some of the best feelings in life, especially when Mario Part 2 came out, because Mario 1 was a side-scrolling game, and that was a fun game, but when Mario Part 2 came out, it was like a whole new, like, you could jump on the characters, pick them up and throw them, and it was like cartoony looking, and you could actually climb, like, you could go up and up, in like indoors, and it was just a whole different, like, it was awesome. I remember before it came out, they had Nintendo Power. My friend from school had a Nintendo Power, the new issue that had the Mario Part 2 in it before the game came out. And I remember going to school begging to borrow just the Nintendo Power magazine. He finally let me. I think I had to pay him for it just to borrow it, like $3 or $4. And I was on the bus, and I'm like, oh my God. I'm showing my brother, and it had like 5 or 6 pages of Mario 2, and it had even like the first level map. It showed like the game, and I was like, oh my God. And I went home, I'm like, Mom, look at this. And she's like, yeah. And I couldn't wait. It was amazing. And just like playing like the original Final Fantasy. I remember it came with a map, the game, and it was like, oh my God, I get to go through this world, level up my characters. It was so much fun. Zelda games, I grew up playing Zelda. Zelda 2, I remember when that came out, I had to find like a store that would rent it around here. And my stepfather opened up an account at this Lizer. It was called Lizer. And they had a copy of the game there, and I rented it from there. And it was expensive just to rent a video game back then, but like, I remember playing the shit out of that. I beat the game in like 3 or 4 days. It was awesome, you guys. In the Contra codes. That game Contra. I went to my friend Jake's house. We were playing Contra in his bedroom. It was such a fun game. Like, the gameplay of it, you get to play 2 players at the same time if you wanted to. The sound effects. Hold on. think that I had a bug in my mouth. There's another ant in there? Hey, Mr. Ant. If you're in there, I'm going to drink you. Yeah, Contra. There was a code. Everybody knows the code. I know. It was, you'd go like, it would be like, up, down, left, right, B, A, select, start. Select start was for if you wanted to have the 2 players with 30 lives. The game was impossible to beat with only 3 lives when you first started the game. If you didn't do the code, there's no beating. Well, nowadays kids can do it, but back then it was impossible. But you do that code I just showed you, and it was like, it gives you 30 lives plus 3 continues. So there's 90 lives. 9 lives. And just playing it was more fun that way. And, you know, again, simple, less is more. Side scrolling, just having fun, beating the game. Even though we did the cheat code and beat it, we were still jumping up and down like, hell yeah, that was awesome. That code also applies to the game Life Force. It's a side-scrolling space shooter. Really fun game, one of my favorites. And if you don't have that code on that game, you can't beat that game. It's impossible. It's where the screen's like slowly moving and you can go forward and backward, but you have to wait for the screen and you're in a spaceship shooting. And then there's a boss at the end of each level. If you haven't seen that game, check it out, Life Force. Oh, by the way, my finger. I went to go pick up my toothbrush off my dresser this morning and I stuck my finger into my razor blade. So it's one of those like cuts that every time I squeeze my finger, it opens up. So it really started my morning out really fucking shitty. I had to buy the NES Classic. It's newer. It's so small that I had to, it only came with a 6-foot cord. So I bought an extension that goes like 10 feet. And it only came with 30 games on it. Some of the classic like Zelda, Mario. It was okay, but you know what? I actually found some YouTube videos that you can install more games on it, and it's awesome. You should try it sometime. I'm not going to direct you to that because it's kind of like a no-no, but I did it. Anyways, yeah. What else is there? Oh, here comes the sun. It's peeking through. There's blue skies there, black clouds there, and the sun's over here. So we got 3 things going on, and it's chilly here, and it's probably 45, 50 degrees over there and 80 degrees over there. So we got some weird things going on over here in Rhode Island. I hope everybody's doing good so far. That's right, Chucky. That's right. I'll be your friend if you play Nintendo with me. Fuck you, Chucky. When I grew up on Nintendo, there was also Rob the Robot, if you guys remember that. I never got that. I never bought it, but it seemed like a waste to me because it only worked with a certain amount of games like Gyromite and something else. The Power Glove came out. My friend had it. I borrowed it. We used it. It was kind of like a gimmicky thing. You could move your fingers a certain way and it would make you jump or whatever. It had the control pad on it. Not my thing. What was my thing was the NES Max. It was a controller that had turbo on it, the turbo buttons, you could set it and stuff. And that was pretty cool. That helped me out in some games. And then there was the NES Advantage, which was a giant square, almost like an arcade stick with bigger buttons. And that was kind of fun, but harder to use because you're depending on your hand movement opposed to like a controlled thumb movement like this. So didn't use that much. Only the NES Max, not the Advantage. The Max, the smaller one with the turbo. So those were a few things that came out for the Nintendo. Then they had the running pad for like Olympia Sports, or doing weird, it was a big pad you put on the floor with the dots, and you could run up and down on the dots and get exercise. Or that was kind of like a gimmicky thing too. I got that, and it was I got in trouble for like making too much noise, like my parents would be like, stop running in the bedroom, you're banging the whole house. So I ended up going on the floor, my hands and knees with my fingers going like, and that worked, but it was kind of like, what am I doing right now? Then the whole gun, the duck hunt gun, that was fun, but kids started being like, hey, why stand back here when you go right up to the TV and just like put it on the TV and be like, ch-ch-ch. Then I got to the point where people were like hitting the TV with like the gun. Luckily back then, the TVs were made out of glass, like tube TVs, so it didn't matter. Nowadays, you'd go and do it, and the screen, the LEDs would, or the plasma TVs would be like broken in like 5 minutes. But yeah, I had stacks of games: Dragon Warrior, Super Mario Brothers, Zelda, Rygar, Castlevania games were really fun to play. Even the second one, even though the second one wasn't so much action as much as it was figuring out what to do adventure. It was an easier game, but I loved the soundtrack to the second one. Bubble Bobble, Solomon's Key was a really fun puzzle solving game. Solomon's Key was the first time I ever stayed up all night as a kid, ever in my life. I've never stayed up from all night, not going to sleep. That's the only time I've never gone to sleep, was playing Solomon's Key. Mike Tyson's Punch-Out! Still to this day is a lot of fun. I love Mike Tyson's Punch-Out! I hate the fact that they banned the game and made like Mr. Dream instead of, like, they put the game out again as Mr. Dream instead of Mike Tyson. That was stupid. Ikari Warriors, another first-person, like, three-dimensional army game. Every time you die, if you go A, B, B, A, you come back to life. And you can beat the entire game that way. There was so many games that I can't... the Goonies 2 game, that's a side-scroller. That's a lot of fun. What was some of your favorite Nintendo games, you guys? Did you play NES Classic? Or even the new one? If you guys have, please leave comments down below, you know? I want to hear your stories. What's some of your favorite Nintendo games? Did you grow up in that time? Did you go through hell playing Mega Man games? Mega Man 1 was really, really hard. Mega Man 2 was easier. I remember I beat part 1, I beat part 2 and 3. I don't know if I've ever beat part 4 or 5. Renegade was a really cool game. They had so many. The problem with Nintendo now, though, is I go back to it, even I play some of these, and I'm like, I get excited, but when I put the game on and I play 5 minutes of it, I'm like, this game's horrible. I remember it being better than it was. Maybe it's all the nostalgia growing up in my memories, best times of my life, and then I put the games on and I'm like, game sucks. I don't just play Nintendo, by the way. I do play everything. I play PlayStation 4 for the most part. I have a gaming PC. I grew up playing all the other ones like Genesis, Super Nintendo, everything, you guys, you know. I feel like I'm missing parts of these stories from my NES times, though. Oh, I remember one of them. I rented Zelda from this little local mom and pop video store, and when I rented it, somebody had already saved their progress, and they were on the last level, and I think I had like a white Link rather, and I had to go outside for a minute to do something, and my friend was in the bedroom with me, so I went outside. When I came back in, he renamed the character. Instead of naming it whatever it was called, he named it his own name, and when you do that, it erases that saved data, and he didn't realize it changed that, and I got so mad. I kicked him out of my house. I sent him home, and I was pissed. I was so mad. I took Nintendo too serious back then. I kicked him out, and he didn't talk to me for a few days. I almost ruined a friendship over a saved game that wasn't even my game on Nintendo. That's how serious I took it. Anyways, You guys, thank you. I want to say thank you for watching this coffee chat, my NES coffee chat. If you guys liked this video, please give me a thumbs up. I appreciate that. If you have not subscribed, please do. Check out the rest of my videos, my channel. I appreciate it. Leave a comment down below and let me know what your favorite Nintendo games are, or any stories you have. I'll chat with you guys about that. In these times in life, we have nothing better to do than sit and scroll through YouTube channels and help support each other, you know what I mean? And that's what it's all about. So anyways, I will let you guys go. I'm going to end this right now. I want to say thank you for watching. I appreciate it. I love you all, campers, Camp Army members. You guys are awesome for supporting and becoming a member. I appreciate that. And until next time, stay out of the woods.
I always said we could work out whatever the trouble might be. And though I still want to leave, it's getting harder for me. Or maybe it's something that happened, or something you gotta go through.